everybody, students, teachers, we have parents, we have extremely distinguished guests and welcome guests to Hazelwood College for our inaugural Celebrating Us event on this, the 9th of October 2018. You all look absolutely outstanding in all of your different colour t-shirts representing all of the different school years that we have here in Hazelwood College. So the vision behind the Celebrating Us Day was really about celebrating all of you, everybody in this room, in your own life, here in school, in your communities, in your personal lives, your sporting communities, in everything you've experienced to date and in everything you will experience in the future. So with all of that in mind, the event is based around everybody here being trained today in CPR. A life-saving skill that after today we will have put over 500 potential lifesavers into your communities. I think this is an absolutely outstanding feat to undertake, to allow you to have a skill that may allow you to save a life in the future. One you may never need, hopefully will never need, but if you do, at that time in need, you will have the skill. So Celebrating Us is also about a vision for protecting life, valuing life, and then saving lives. So with that in mind, once we have the CPR covered, it is then time for you to celebrate and value the life and energy that we do have. And working with you all, I know how much life and energy you all have every day, filling this place with love and joy. So the 9th of October is a day that we picked because it is a very, very special day. And it is the day in which the life-saving skill that you will all leave with today was needed for our very special colleague, teacher, friend and family member. That skill ultimately saved the life of our colleague, friend and teacher, Michelle Herbert. I think we deserve a round of applause there. I think with that in mind, we can have so much joy in ourselves today that this event is happening in Hazelwood College, the first of its kind in the country, where all the students will go home today with CPR skills and the teachers, and have had a day where you can really find out new ways to value the life that you have, whether it's through yoga, mindfulness, some more different kinds of movement, healthy eating talks. We can't thank enough the people that are coming to our school today entirely, voluntarily, to provide us with their time and offer us their skills and experience across the fields of yoga, mindfulness, Pilates, exercise classes. We have mental health awareness speakers. We have such a variety on the timetable for you today. And I know the timetable is a little bit of a secret for you, but we've done that on purpose so that as you go through your day, it's like the stepping stones of life. There's surprises along the way, and that's the magic of it. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome everyone who has come here today. We have members of St Andrew's College in Dublin who have come to be part of the day with the hope of rolling out this programme in their school next year or in the future. We have Michelle's mother and her aunt in presence as well today, which is really, really special. And we'd like to welcome those. And when you see a 4-year-old boy later running around, that's her son. So I think we can't but celebrate life today. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to our guests today to open the ceremony. So we have Claire Scanlon, we have Sarah Jane Joy, we have Podge Collins, and we have Laura Hickey. So I'm going to introduce Claire first of all. Claire is from Monaghan. Some of you know her already. She's very heavily involved with the CRY organisation, which is the Cardiac Risk in the Young organisation. And Claire's motivation for being involved in this organisation was due to the loss of her own son, Dara, in 2011. And some of you may have already been on the walk, cycle or the run that happens every single May in Monagea. And it is one of the flagship fundraising events for CRY every year. So I'll introduce you to Claire now. You give her a big round of applause. You can go up on the stage now. Up there? Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. I was told to come up on the stage just in case you think I needed a bit of a higher elevation to speak to you all. Thanks, Marie. Firstly, I suppose I'm going to do things the other way around. I'm going to congratulate each and every one of you for coming out here this morning, for looking so bright and breezy, and for organising such a wonderful day. To the students, staff and the teachers for putting together this day. I know these events don't happen easily and it takes an awful lot of organisation. Now I know when you have motivation behind you, that gives you a power, a motivation to do so, and obviously your motivation is sitting right there with Michelle. The day, I suppose, even though just starting, promises to be full of education and energy and lots of fun, but along with the fun there's a really serious message tagged onto it, and I suppose I sincerely hope that possibly other schools might follow your initiative and make this an annual day on their school calendar year. I suppose with pressure from schools and pressure from, I suppose, the politicians and maybe the likes of our sporting celebrity friends, we might be able to push that and get the government to come on board to make CPR this day that ye started, that ye founded, an annual day in the school calendar. I think it would be a wonderful thing to do. I want to thank everyone for asking me to come, and I suppose Michelle, especially to Michelle, for asking me to come here. Michelle got a second chance of life, and she deserves every bit of it. And she, along with your help, has decided to spread this powerful message. She could sit back and say, do you know what? I'm okay now. They've sorted me out, I'm good to go. But she didn't. She's standing up and she's delivering a message to all these people. And why? Because she got a second chance. And believe me, second chances don't come around too often. And I know too well. So, my name is Claire Scanlon, as Marie said. I am a proud West Cork woman. I don't tell people that ever. Living in West Limerick for the last almost 15 years now. I have, I suppose, adapted and adopted all things Limerick, and I have been seen to wear the green and white on numerous occasions. So I can safely say I'm a West Limerick woman now. I'm going to roll back before some of you were even born, most of you actually. On the 16th of November, my son Dara was born. I was young and kind of foolish. All 10 pounds 11 ounces of him arrived, and he grew up in Cork up to the age of 6. And the two of us then, I met my husband and we moved to Monagea in West Limerick. Do you all know Monagea, or where it is roughly? Yeah. So he started first class in Monagea, and it was an eye-opener. He changed my life for the better. And to be honest, I suppose you've a long time to find out yet, but you'll never, ever know what love is until a son or a daughter arrives. You won't think it possible to love someone so much until they come along to the world. I'm going to fast forward to the 11th of December 2011, and Dara and I were in the kitchen. He had just turned 15 in November, And it was a Sunday night and we were chatting, as you do. And he was sitting there with his laptop out and he was he was looking on the Hollister website to see what he could get for Christmas. Priorities when you're 15. So eventually he said, Mum, he said, I'm going to bed. He said, so I said, grand. I said, look, I'll see you in the morning. And 2 minutes later, he arrived back up the hall, laughing his head off with a grin on his face and said, Ma'am, I've no school bag. So I said, Liam, where's your school bag? And he said, oh, I dropped it to such and such after Friday evening, and I went on to training. I said, look, don't worry, Dara. I said, it's grand. I'll collect the bag. And he said, Ma'am, he said, I won't need it till 10:20. I have PE in the morning. So I said, fine. I said, go to bed. I think I said, go to bed, you clown. I said, and we both laughed. And I said, don't forget to brush your teeth. That insignificant little piece of dialogue was the last conversation I had with Dara. Because when my clock went off in the morning and I went to wake him for bed, I got no response. Dara had closed his eyes sometime in the middle of the night and he didn't wake up. His beautiful smiling face was no longer there. He was lifeless and cold, and basically his heart had given up in the middle of the night. No, I don't want to frighten everybody. That's not what I'm here for. But this is the second chance that he didn't get. His life was snuffed out. His post-mortem showed us after that he had died of SADS. SADS stands for Sudden Adult Death Syndrome. It's basically when your heart is pumping like this and it goes into a shaky rhythm. And this is where your defib comes in. If someone drops on a field like Michelle, or falls down here now, and someone is around, there's every chance that you can get their heart back. A defib stops a heart. People are of the impression that it starts a heart again. It doesn't. When your heart is shaking like this, you basically shock it, so it stops it, and next thing your heart goes, oh, okay, I'm ready to resume normal rhythm. That's what happened, Dara. But his heart kept shaking, and he eventually just went to sleep. From this, I suppose life turned completely upside down. As a family unit, there had been 5 of us, his younger brother, Liam McQueeva, and I mean, life was pretty good. I suppose a little bit about Dara, he was very sporty, even though the people think that being sporty adds to sudden adult death. It doesn't. In order to maybe have an episode through sport, you also have to have an underlying heart condition. Just because you play sport doesn't mean you're going to keel over or you're going to die in your sleep. You have to have the underlying heart condition. So I really don't want to frighten anybody. Dara did, but it's something we don't know enough about. Dara was a happy, handsome, generous, content, popular young man. I suppose he was great with his younger brother and sister. He always had a word for everyone. I remember the Friday night before he died, Liam McQueeva's school concert was on, and he came to that after training in UL. And I was sitting in the car waiting for him, and I said, "Jeez, where is he gone?" So next thing, he ran over to the car and he said, "Oh, sorry, ma'am." He said, "I just had to talk to Kieran's nana." Kieran's nana was probably 80 years of age, but he had to go over to the car park to say hello to her. He said, "I hadn't seen her in ages." He said, "I had to say hello to her." And that was the type of fella he was. About 3 years after he died, a man approached Tom, my husband, and said that his child had been bullied in school for about 3 years. I never knew this, and only that Dara died, I don't think we ever would have heard it. Dara was the only one in the school that ever stood up for his son. He said he basically told them to go away, leave him alone and pick on someone else. And only that Dara died, I don't think I'd ever heard that. And it was such a nice story to hear. But this was the type of young fella he was. He was special but I wouldn't be a bit biased. But every one of us, of course, have that quality. But that's the type of young fella he was. His sporting abilities, I suppose, we were very proud of them. He was picked for primary game in 6th class, and I'm not joking, it was better than the presidential election when he played above in Simple Stadium. It was just fantastic. When he went into Desmond College, he captained his the soccer team, we'll call it, instead of football. They won the Munster School soccer that year, and he was captain that year as well. He's numerous league and cup medals for Newcastle West for soccer, and of course his beloved Mona Gay. I know he played minor, and they did the double 13-a-side double the year he died. His last match was below in McNeville Park, and they did the double that year. But unfortunately, he never collected his medals, as he died about 3 weeks later. Dara was also on the county hurling and football panel, but picked the hurling over the football. And this famous academy that we've all been listening about for the last month or so, Dara was on that academy. He played with Sean Finn and Aaron Gallan and most of those, so you just don't know. I followed Limerick all the way along, and I suppose there's a little piece of you thinking, would he be playing? Or would he be on the hill? Or, you know, maybe he would have lost interest. But there's a piece of you always wondering, what could have been? Because all your hopes and dreams go with them. I suppose the message really I'm trying to get across to ye is that if there is screening available to any of ye, go and get it done. I know it would be really, really, really frightening if a doctor or a nurse or someone came to you and said, look, we've seen something that we're not happy about. And I get that would be very scary. But honestly, if it's available, go and get it done. It can be dealt with. Lives can be saved. There is people walking around that are being monitored and have defibs installed inside their bodies to keep them going. Please, please get it checked. The symptoms of SADS, unfortunately, they're not cut and dry. Dara never had a symptom. Some people do. It can be extreme dizziness or black spots or things like that, but this is extreme. But if you ever don't feel okay, say it. Just say it to someone and it can be looked at. I suppose the screening is very important, but on obviously what you're doing today, the CPR, is I suppose that can be a critical link. You alone can be a critical link in saving somebody's life. If somebody falls down, or if you come across somebody that isn't breathing, you yourself, even if you do it wrong, can keep someone's heart beating. And that could give somebody enough time to get a defib or a doctor or a paramedic or an ambulance to come to save that someone's life. That is an enormous power to have. In Dara's case, it was too late. He had been dead too long. If I had got there sooner, would I have saved him? I'll never know. But the thing is, you might be in that situation someday. So I suppose the message your teachers are trying to get across today, and why I'm here to give you all a shock first thing in the morning, is to say that take the day seriously, enjoy it, but learn and listen and realise that you have that power in your hands. I suppose just to mention, or Marie touched on it there, as a result of Dara's death and the death of a girl by the name of Niamh Hurley, she died 8 months previous to Dara. She was from the same parish. They're now buried alongside each other in Monaghan, which is probably one of the weirdest things I've ever seen in my life, to be honest. Niamh was 21. The Hurley family and ourselves set up a charity, and it's a charity walk, run and cycle every year. It's the May Bank Holiday weekend, the Saturday. And since the first year of 2013, we've given over 250,000 to the Christ Centre in Tallaght. The Christ Centre is a centre based in the hospital in Tallaght. It's basically a one-stop shop for all things cardiac testing, also counselling for families, and it's a wonderful centre. Unfortunately, unfortunately, like a lot of things in the country, it's not government funded, even though we did secure some lately. So all the money goes towards that, and it's a very important charity to us. Finally, I suppose I'm not going to bore you anymore, just to say enjoy your day. I just found a little piece, and it says that it was actually Abraham Lincoln said it. He said, next to creating a life, the finest thing a man can do is save one. So I thought that was very apt. Maybe he didn't mean it quite so literally, but I'm going to steal it today and pass it on to you. So yeah, again, enjoy your day, and I'll probably see you floating around at some stage during the day. All right, thanks.
Thanks, Claire. Thanks so much to Claire for coming today and sharing her story with us, and for leading us on to the next guest very, very nicely in a way. She spoke about the power that you will all leave with today to save somebody's life. So our next guest is somebody by the name of Sarah Jane Joy, and she's known very closely to Michelle. And Sarah Jane started her relationship with Michelle as her opposing player on a camogie field, and has now become a lifelong and dear and valued friend, I'm sure. Just before I introduce Sarah, if everybody turns off your phone completely, it would be great, because it interferes with the mic. Thank you. Sarah Jane is our next speaker.
Hi everyone. Okay, bear with me, I've never done this before. I suppose I'm here today because of Michelle. This day 2 years ago, we were playing a camogie game, and a camogie final in Cooley-Roo. A normal day playing a camogie game. First half went swimmingly well for the other team, not us, because we were losing. And I suppose at the start of the second half, things turned differently for everyone. I suppose what I remember about the day is that a Newcastle West camogie player got hit in the hand, and she was screaming hysterically, and we were all looking at this girl screaming. But on the corner of my eye, I could see Michelle, and I could just see, to myself, I thought she was just having a bit of a seizure, actually. That's my initial reaction. I went, for God's sake now, she's a history of epilepsy, and just I'll go over to her and put her into the recovery position and make sure that she's okay. So I suppose I ran over to Michelle, took off her helmet, and I suppose I know my profession, my background is that I'm a nurse. I've never been in that situation before, outside of the hospital. Even in the hospital, I suppose you're in a group and you have a lot of support there. So I suppose once I took off Michelle's helmet, a lot of people asked me, why did I start CPR so quickly? I really don't know. I just think it was Michelle's luck. I just knew that I had to start straight away, and I did. I started, but as I was starting compressions, as my mum says, all she can hear is I called for help. as I was starting, I still called for help, which is really, really important. So I called for help, I started compressions, and as time went by, people came to help me. The defibrillator came, which is fantastic as well. Sorry now. I suppose something also to say, when I started compressions on Michelle, one or two of her teammates actually came over and tried to pull me off her, which is just everyone's reaction to the situation. So I suppose I just told them to go away. I said, I know what I'm doing, she's okay. I suppose everyone thought we were having a fight, basically. Even ask her son, we thought he didn't even see any bit of the situation, and turns out he thought that I was fighting with his mammy that day. But it was a lot more serious than that. But at least, like a lot of people thought that. I suppose I took control of the situation. I suppose being a nurse by profession, I found that easier to do. Being the first person on the situation as well made it easier for me to take control. I suppose one thing about the CPR, if you're CPR trained, there's a structure. As I say to myself, since I trained as a nurse, I see things as, take it as A, B and C. So no matter how stressful a situation can be, if you kind of know the basics, like even out of today, if you're finding it a bit overwhelming, if there's too much information there, if you just take simple A, B and C. So for instance, if someone collapsed in front of you there today, just if you know the basics, even take 2 or 3 things out of today, like you even if you're on your own, you'll still give that person the best chance. Like that day, I was never going to give up on Michelle. Never give up until the emergency services come. Sorry. We had a very happy ending to that situation 2 years ago, and it's something that I think about every day. Like, it's such a happy moment that I have a lifelong friend in Michelle. And the thing that goes through my head every day is, what if it was the other situation? So we're very lucky that it was a happy situation. And I suppose I was in the right place at the right time. I wasn't playing camogie that long. I only started playing camogie because I moved to the parish of Tournafulla and I needed to know people, get to know people, because I suppose I did play football for years. So, it's just uncanny how things happen. I suppose the technique of CPR as well, if you take that from today, just, as I said, take the simple things from today, and if you are on your own with an adult, always call for help first anyway, okay? And then start your CPR afterwards, start your compressions. And as I say, if you just take that from today, never give up until someone more professional comes and gives you that help. You'll be giving that person the best chance. As I said, I've gotten a great lifelong friend out of Michelle now. Look at us here 2 years later. Little did we think we'd be here. She did a fantastic job, and I know she had people helping her as well today at organising this event, and it would be absolutely amazing if this was run throughout the country. One day a year isn't asking a lot. And as I say, there'll be 500 plus students here today, even if over the next 40 years, if only 1 or 2 of you helped save someone's life, I don't think I'll ever, to be able to say, it'll be the greatest achievement I'll ever have done, is to help save someone's life. So, thanks, Michelle.
Thanks so much, Sarah Jane. We can all, our hearts are probably racing and a little bit teary now, but it's very important to get that message across to you all. Our next guest probably doesn't need a big introduction, but I'll give it to him anyway. So we have a man who has played at the highest level for his county and his club since a very, very young age. So since the age of a lot of you, has taken it in hand to have the dedication and commitment to represent both his club and his county at senior level, underage level, minor level, I'm running out of pages level, in both hurling and football, winning 2013 All-Ireland hurling medal. So from County Clare, we have Podge Collins coming to speak to us today, and I think we can all relate to, especially county hurling finalists. We kind of have a real affinity for people playing at that level this year, considering our own great fortune this year with Limerick. So we'd like to welcome to the stage Podge Collins next.
First of all, thanks very much for having me. When Michelle asked me to call out to the school today, I didn't even have to think about it. It's such a great cause, and you can all give yourselves a clap in the back, because what you're doing today is magnificent. And for 500 students to be trained in CPR and everyone else along with it is just unbelievable, and I hope that it does continue throughout the country. I can't go any further in talking to you without saying a massive congratulations to Limerick. So well done this year. When you look at this year, let's say we played Limerick in the league stage of the championship, and we beat them by 10 points. And little did I think that they'd be standing over, or playing one of the big greatest games of hurling at the end of August there. So fair play to them and well done. I suppose my own background, why I probably was asked here today is, I play hurling with Clare and football with Clare, but I also am involved with an organisation in Clare called Elevate, and what they do is they basically attempt to look after the wellness of young people in Clare. It's something that's probably can be a bit neglected, and I don't like the whole, let's say the education view on it, where they expect teachers, along with all they have to do, to try help the students as well. I really think that there should be a lot more done for you, and I suppose this organisation was set up in Clare to try help that. And it's something that's very close to my heart, and I don't want to, I know the tone is quite, it's been, I want everyone to kind of pick up, and today is about celebrating life. And we, Dara will live on in our memories, and no doubt, we'll remember those we've lost. But today is about celebrating life, and Donald Walsh's story of just a young guy from Kerry that I'm sure you've all heard of, that was in an awful circumstance, awful situation, and he just wanted to get the message out there that we just have to be so appreciative for what we have. So I'm just going to go through a few pieces of advice that I'd give you to try help you dealing with everyday life, and it's just 5 simple things in my opinion. The first one I'll start with is to give, and I think that's something that won't be lost in you anyway today, and I just think it's so important that we should be so fortunate with what we have, and sometimes it's very easy to take stuff for granted, but to give to people around you, to different charities, organisations, to a next door neighbour that's living by themselves, go down and have a chat with them, just to give your time, your students, you won't have a lot of money in the bank account to donate to these charities, but you can give your time and get involved in different events like today. So fair play, you're already doing that. So connect is also a big one. I'm definitely one person that loves to connect with people, and it's such an important thing. We as human beings, as I think it's all animals across any species, that we all seek, let's say, affection, friendship. It's so important. Don't ever feel like you're by yourself, or don't ever feel like you're being a burden on someone else if you want to talk to them. It's just innate in human beings that we're supposed to be around people, we're supposed to be around friends. So the next one is be active. So on that note, I just ask you all to stand up, because I see a few tired faces. So will everyone just stand up there for a second?
Yay! Exercise!
I better take off the suit and tie because I look very official, and in my day job I have to be, but when I'm here I think I'll get away with it. So we'll do a small bit of exercise just to get everyone wide awake. There's a few people sitting down on the ground. So can I get everyone, do you all know what a squat is? Can I get everyone to do 10 squats? So I'll start off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, we've all a bit of exercise done. The blood is flowing, and now we'll play a little game, okay? So if you'll watch us up top, it's nice and simple, okay? So I'll go into the middle of you there. So if you put your right hand and put it out like that, and take your left hand and put your left hand in the finger of or in the palm of the person beside you, okay? So can you all do that? So I'll just show you. Okay, so we'll see who's alert. Okay, what we're going to do is, now everyone quiet. Everyone quiet. Okay, we're going to demonstrate with the top 4. So no one else do anything. When I say catch, you have to try grab the person's finger that's in your palm. Okay?
Well, no, I'll back here.
Okay, so one person, so the students wait a minute now, we're just demonstrating up top, okay? The idea is you have to get your finger away while trying to grab the person's finger beside you. Is that all clear? Okay. Catch. Okay, we got one. So, can we all try that? Okay, ready? So everyone finger into the palm beside you, left finger, right palm out. You all ready? Catch! Okay. Well done. Everyone sitting down again. Okay. Okay. It's well done, everyone, and I must compliment you on what a well-organised, well-behaved group you are. Since I've walked into the school, I've been beyond impressed. Okay, be active is what I was trying to get at there. It's so important that on a daily basis that you're all active. Like going home from school, sitting at home on the couch, or like you do your studies for 3 hours, sitting at home on the couch playing PlayStation. It's not good for you. I promise you, it is not good for you. You need to get involved with teams, get involved with the community. If you're not into sport, get involved with music, exercise, yoga, Zumba. There's so many different things you can do out there. Just be active. It is so good for your mental well-being. Okay. The next thing is learning, and I think this is one that I probably neglected growing up as a child because it was all sport, it was just constant, and I never really explored different avenues. It was kind of as I got older I started to realise like how important it is to, let's say, broaden your horizons. It's very easy to live in your comfort zone, and it's something I was probably very guilty of up till about 21 or 22, and since then I've just completely changed my outlook on life. I've got involved in like this organisation like Elevate, which puts me speaking in front of students regularly. I've tried to learn how to play the guitar. I have a musical bone in my body, so that's not enjoyable to listen to for me, so I don't put it on anyone else. I lock myself in a room and play away. I didn't really read till I was 21. Now I read like a book a month maybe, and like just to keep learning. And the last, let's say, pillar that I kind of go to, and it's kind of my little guide to well-being, is to take notice. And it's probably one that we're probably all guilty of not doing. The grass is always greener. I always say that to my friends when they're kind of giving out to me about something, that like we look at the person beside us and we think, oh, they have everything, their life's great, he's captain of this team or that team, and I'm a sub and whatever. But we have to be thankful for what we have and take notice of what we have and appreciate what we have, be it like a very good friend or a very good family member or your parents looking after you, stuff like that. Like, be appreciative of what we have. And even taking notice for what's around you. Like, look, this, like, you fantastic facilities in the school. Be appreciative of that. Like a hall, basketball court, like great teachers clearly. take notice of all that and be, like really appreciate it. And even like landscape, nature, it's probably something that wouldn't be on a lot of your minds, but I lived in Clare since I was 8. I lived in Limerick before that. And the first time I went to the Cliffs of Moher when I was 21, I did an exam in college and didn't go too well. And I hopped into my car, and I know it sounds bad, but I drove to the cliffs because I heard it was a beautiful place, and I walked along it. I walked for an hour, and I just couldn't believe that it took for me to be 21 to go back and see this an hour away from my home house in natural landscape and just beautiful. And I suppose just take notice for what's around you, because there is so much good going on out there. The last 2 things I'll talk to you about is sleep and nutrition. How many hands up who slept 9 hours or more last night? Hands up. 1 or 2 hands. Who slept 8 hours or more? Who slept 7 hours or more? Try be honest as you can. Who slept 6 hours or less? Okay, hands down. Sleep is the most important, I think, thing that we can do naturally. I'm listening to audiobook in the car about sleep and how important it is. Like in the Western world, in America and Japan, there's a direct correlation between the increase in disease and less sleep. Like it's when you actually think about it, like our body, we sleep for more than 1/3 of our lives. And like evolution, we were designed from apes. Like we've evolved from apes. So like we've literally been like fine-tuned that our fingers, we can pick up stuff, our teeth in our head, they're all different functions. Like the evolutionary process has put us to be this person. So it would have got rid of sleep if we didn't need it. Trust me, every tooth in your head is a different function. We need sleep, and it was so important. Like more doctors are prescribing sleep as like a form of helping people. So 8 hours a night. And I noticed some kids slept more than 8 hours a night. I didn't see one adult with their hand up for more than 8 hours a night, and I didn't put my hand up either. And it is so important. I'm reaching it. And then healthy eating, guys. I cannot push healthy eating enough on you. I'm sure there'll be more talks today about it. Just fruit and vegetables is a simple way of I can describe it. And that's all I'm going to say about healthy eating and sleep, and I think I've gone through enough. All I'd say to you is, from my own experience, I basically went through school with 4 very close friends. Of those 4, 3 of them suffered from depression. 2 of them ended up in Pieta House, and now they're all fine. I remember one of them one morning, I was on my way to work, and I got a phone call at 7:30, and he said, "Come see me right now." I had to ring my HR manager in AIB, Dolores Condon. I explained the situation to her. I collected him, we drove to Pieta House. And it's scary, like 15-year-old sleeping with a blade under his pillow. Like, this stuff is scary. But if something is wrong, you need to talk. It's like, my 4 friends, I went through the whole of secondary school with them, and it took us to get to college before any of them talked. If there's something wrong, if you're not feeling well, it is not uncommon. You're definitely not alone. I promise you that. Like, these guys are active into sports. You think they have the world at their feet, and we all think that about the person beside us, but we just don't know what's going on. So please look out for each other. Look out for your friends. Keep an eye on people. If something is wrong, please talk, because there isn't a teacher in Ireland that does not want to help you. So, and there's so many different organisations, charities that are there for you. So guys, today again is like about celebrating life, and what you're doing is absolutely magnificent. Thanks a million for having me. Really enjoyed today, and I look forward to seeing you around later, okay? Thanks.
Thanks to Podge for something I think so honest, inspiring, got our hearts going, informative. It kind of ticked all the boxes, I think, especially considering what our whole day is about as well. And lastly, but most certainly not least, we have Laura Hickey from the Heart Foundation. So Laura is here with her team today, and they will be helping deliver the CPR training. Laura is the young Children and Young People's Manager. So I'd like to welcome Laura to say a few words. Thank you.
Hi, good morning. So we just want to say thank you so much to Hazelwood College, because myself and Kiva and I think Anne, we have literally travelled the length and breadth of this country. 2 years ago we started training students like yourself in secondary schools in CPR, and we started teaching the teachers how to teach their students CPR, and we've literally, I think, been every corner of the country at this stage. There's 310 schools trained in CPR out of 715 in Ireland in the last 2 years. And I have never, ever, ever seen anything like what we're seeing here today. So I want to give you all a massive round of applause to congratulate yourselves. Michelle called me, I think, back in February or March time last year, and she said, I really want to do something. And I was like, great, fabulous, and I'm thinking we're going to do something small here. And last May, she literally organised this mega training where she trained all, not just yourselves here today she's organising, helped us train all the schools around here in your area. So I think there was 25 schools came on the day. So if you think there's 25 schools and about 600 pupils in each school, that is going to be massive. The impact of that is going to be huge. So our CPR4Schools programme, what we're trying to do is show people like you how to do CPR. It's not that hard, honestly. The hardest thing you're going to do today is blowing up those mannequins. Honestly, it really is. It's so simple. So what I'd say to you today is have fun. It is a very, very serious topic. You've heard that today. 13 families every day in Ireland are faced with the loss of a loved one. My own dad passed away from a cardiac arrest last May. So today is hugely emotional for me as well, being here. But what I can say to you is when I arrived in that hospital and I found out my dad wasn't with us anymore, I knew everything that could have been done was done for him, because CPR was started straight away and they had a really, really fast response time. So you might come across a situation like that, and what I can say to you is ring emergency services, call 112-999, start CPR straight away, and don't be afraid to do it. You've heard today where someone was, being dragged off Michelle. Don't be afraid to start CPR straight away. You can do no harm by doing CPR. That is the best message I can give you to you today. Start compression straight away, ring emergency services. If there's an AED nearby, get it. If you learn that today, you'll do a great job. You'll see in your mannequins today, they've all little clickers. That'll show you that you're doing your compressions really good. So in Ireland, we know that we're a really good community. As communities, we get out there and we help people. You can see that here today, it's evident. What we don't have is we don't have good quality CPR, and that's why we're training everyone with mannequins. So you'll see today when you're doing the compressions, you might be having a bit of a joke and a bit of a fun, but what I'll say to you is when you're doing your compressions, press down and hear that clicker. That's the rate you need to go until to get the good compression. So that means you're doing good quality CPR, and that's what's going to save a life if you're doing CPR. If it's really, really tough, don't be afraid. When I first did it, it was so hard. I thought, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this physically? But after a few minutes of doing it, you actually figure out you can do it. So it's just that you haven't done it before, and it's the first time you've done it. So if you find the first compression you do is a bit tough, don't worry. After about a minute, you'll ease into it. So look, everything that has been said is fantastic, and all I want to say to you guys is you could one day be a lifesaver and help us create the next generation of lifesavers. We hope you never ever have to do it, but if you do, remember you have the confidence and you'll have the skills. After today, you're 10 times more likely to do CPR on someone by just this one 40-minute training. It's that simple, but it's a big, big thing to do. So thank you so much to Hazelwood College. You are literally the best school I have seen at this. You have put so much in, and I can't wait to see what the rest of today looks like. So please do enjoy it. It is a very serious topic, but you can also have fun doing this, and it's a skill you'll have for life. Thank you.